All right, now we're going to talk about effective communication and conflict resolution for couples. And I have two excerpts that you're going to use for this exercise. So before reading the first one about effective communication, I would like you to take some notes, both of you, to take some notes about the barriers that the two of you face when you attempt to communicate. I also want you to identify a few effective communication strategies that you would like to use. So following reading the section together, I want you to both spend about 30 minutes, each of you using I statements. You're going to take turns using I statements regarding a mildly difficult topic. The speaker should focus on how they feel when their partner does the thing that bothers them, and then explain what they need instead. The listener should then express empathy and summarize what the initial speaker is saying, and then tell them that they can see it that way. They can understand the other person's perspective and see it. The objective, though, is to speak about an issue and to be able to see it from your partner's view. See it, feel it, understand it. The objective is not to right fight or right argue about your position, but rather, again, about seeing things from your partner's view. It's all about having empathy. That's what's healing. So both of you should practice, both being the speaker and the listener. Once this is done, then I want you to read the next excerpt about conflict resolution. So, while reading or before reading the excerpt, I would like both of you to write down what your main source of conflict is. And then I want to also know what is your strategy or tactic that you will use to avoid having conflict, bad conflict, and continued conflict. After reading this segment, though, I want you to both spend about 30 minutes discussing the main source of conflict that each of you have regarding the relationship, okay? Or regarding the other person specifically. It will be important to once again follow the communication steps outlined above in the communication section, okay? Or in the conflict resolution section. There's some redundancy here, but what I want you to add to this flow of discussion that you guys are having is what solution you both will choose to use to manage your conflict in the future. And I want you to write out an action plan about how you're going to handle conflict when you're faced with it. I would like both of you to sign an agreement too. As part of this plan, I want you to at least sign your plan that you're both agreeing that this is how you're going to act, this is how you're going to respond to manage conflict. So what we know as a psychologist that treats people and studies relationships, one of the biggest offenders is certainly communication, but it's about how people can manage conflict. And when people can't manage conflict, they end up having trouble, because as I've talked about earlier in the course, when you can't manage conflict, you get angry, you hold a grudge, people drive further and further and further and further away from each other until there's too much space to come back. So often one is moving further, then often one moves away and the other one is not aware of it. But it's really important, if you want to build a loving, sustaining relationship, that you learn how to manage conflict and you learn how to communicate effectively, and you got to have a plan. And part of having a plan too is really inoculating each other to know what you're doing. You've been through this before, you've practiced this, and you both feel secure that the other one's going to take care of you in this process. So now you have basically completed the sections of the course. You know, at times I'll be adding additional information that you're welcome to peruse and to utilize, but this is really the end of the main premarital and marital tune-up courses. So I want to thank you and for participating, and I want to move you to the next section, which is the quiz section or the questionnaire section. This is how you receive your certificate, so make sure that you move forward and complete this final component of your course. So it's been great working with you. Good luck to you. Let us know if we can do anything else for you.